How did cat hairs get on the windscreen? What? How? There's a helicopter outside. Just ignore that. Welcome. This is a channel where I make fun of marketing and talk about the urge to buy stuff. And I'm really trying to keep it calm today. But the fact is, I'm kind of angry because YouTube recently, I wouldn't even say that they announced it, but YouTube recently declared that you can't use ad blockers on the site. Specifically on Chrome, but I have a feeling they have plans to extend this to, you know, any browser, any place they can, any area where they're losing significant amounts of revenue because of ad blockers, they will crack down on it. The message is incredibly clear. They want YouTube as a whole to make a lot more money than it is now, and this is one way to boost their revenue. Sadly, I think this is something that a lot of us have been expecting for a very long time, and even worse, it's something that YouTube has every legal right to do. From a very dry, logical viewpoint, it makes sense. Now, does that mean that I'm okay with this decision and how they have decided to present it to us? No, it doesn't. You are completely justified to feel upset about this. It's okay to feel angry about this as long as you're not getting like violent and taking it out on other people. That's important, and I hate seeing people on the internet acting like, oh, well, it's not a big deal for me, therefore no one else should be upset by this. That's just an insane stance to take. And this also seems like a moment in which we're not just mourning the loss of the YouTube that we used to know, but also mourning the death of the ad blocker as a whole, which has been a long time coming. Unfortunately, it feels like this is just what the internet has become as a whole. And for some of the older ones out there of you remember, I think you remember the times when the internet just felt incredibly vast and filled with possibilities, and like, oh, it's the wealth of human knowledge, and we all just get to have it for the price of a connection. And in the years since, it really has become smaller and smaller in terms of its intentions, especially on what I refer to as like the privatized internet. They're ultimately corporate digital spaces that really only exist to either collect data that can be used for, well, nefarious purposes, as well as selling you stuff. Well, selling you stuff is also nefarious purposes. One reason why I think the tone has changed here is that all of a sudden it feels like YouTube is being very blunt about the fact that you don't have anywhere else to go. And that is the fact of the matter. There is no practical alternative to YouTube right now. Like, don't try to talk to me about Vimeo. Don't try to talk to me about what, like Bilibili? Like, is there? No. And with a lack of alternatives, it gets scary. It means that YouTube's power over their user base is greater than ever before. And that's an issue. Power disparity in general tends to lead to abuses of power. And in this case, the worse the user experience is on YouTube, the better for YouTube. Like, they can make more money out of making their service miserable to experience because it pushes people towards paying them directly. And that is exactly what they've been doing for years now. The progression from lower third ads to exclusively skippable ads on just a handful of really big channels, and what it is now is just insane. Watching vanilla YouTube with no ad blocker, without premium, is something I am not
head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead.
Capable of doing anymore. I am not what they call ad tolerant. I just can't do it. And a big part of that is that ads themselves are miserable. which is not something we talk about enough. Don't worry, I will here on the channel in the future. So it comes down to this. Are there any alternatives? What can you actually do to try to make an impact here? Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of good news for you. Sort of the short-term situation here is that there are quite a few workarounds, very temporary workarounds. I want to emphasize that point because like people were talking about, oh, you could put a hyperlink from YouTube into Discord and you can watch it, you know, through their app without the ads. You could try to use a more obscure internet browser that YouTube hasn't quite caught up to yet, and you could still use the ad blocker there. And I'm sure there are many other alternatives I'm just not aware of right now. Problem is, those will all be taken away. If any one of those causes a significant dent in YouTube's revenue, they'll stop it. That's exactly what they are doing right now, and that is what they will do in the future if they perceive a problem. That is not a long-term solution at all. What else? You could pay for premium. So a lot of people seem to just think this is the ultimate solution, like give in. Just give in. Just, you know, sign up for premium and stop complaining. Just deal with it. It's another subscription service. Why not? So apart from the fact that the ubiquity of streaming services right now is completely insane and not financially feasible for many people, as other folks online have rightfully pointed out, these prices are not static at all. As soon as you have a user base who really doesn't want to leave and really doesn't have any kind of alternative, you can make the prices whatever you want them to be. You can raise prices at the drop of a hat. You don't even necessarily have to notify your users that there is going to be a price change in any meaningful way. And you can do it for any reason. This is evidenced by every other major streaming service right now. It's just a thing. This is our new normal, apparently. And a lot of these companies seem determined to push things as far as they can possibly go at risk of completely losing their audiences. So that's the premium option. How about like voicing your dissatisfaction, right? Like what if there's a way to properly communicate to YouTube that we're genuinely very upset about this? I'm sorry, unless it's this absolutely massive coordinated effort that involves like 60+% of all YouTube viewers worldwide, I don't think it's going to get us anything more than an apologatory. There's a great made-up word in my head that was perfect for this situation. If we haven't already, YouTube is just gonna post a thing that says, hey, we really value our community. We hear you, blah, 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 a couple paragraphs of absolutely nothing. And then at the end, in the softest possible corporate tone, they will say, and by the way, we're not walking back anything. Like, this is what we're doing, deal with it. The final option is to leave. I don't care what your reasons are. You can leave out of spite. You can just abandon YouTube because you're upset with them. That's totally fine. You can, you know, abandon it because you want your life to be better. I just can't imagine anybody's life getting worse because they stopped watching YouTube videos. But I think it's okay. I think for most people, it would be a positive change. It would be a positive change to just say goodbye to YouTube. And I say that as a person who would kind of like people to watch their stuff on YouTube. I say that as someone who's been watching YouTube basically every day of my life for, more than 15 years? Yeah, actually a lot more than 15 years. That's a problem in itself. I'll work on that later, alone. It just seems like things are getting worse. It just seems like things are getting worse in terms of how users are treated on social media platforms generally. And YouTube is no small force in that world. And it is not a small community that they are affecting with these decisions. And while, you know, certain things like premium might be a viable option for certain people, it's just not a solution for a lot of other people. That is sad to me. That just feels like the platform abandoning people rather than the other way around. It just feels like leaving people behind. I would really like to leave you with a very hopeful perspective on how things could improve. And it is possible. It's possible things could improve, but For now, I guess I just want to offer this space for people to feel upset. If you want to share your thoughts, please do. Again, as long as we're not getting like violent about it, as long as we're not attacking other people about the whole thing. It's not just one person we can point the finger at. It's a whole bunch of people making very detached decisions, as you know, just as part of their job. Regardless, thank you so much for listening to me to rant and ramble and share my own feelings on the subject for this amount of time. My gosh. And if you would like to, if you decide not to abandon YouTube completely, maybe stick around. I would love to talk about other stuff. I would love to talk about ads being terrible. Also, by the way, should we ever get to the point where I'm eligible for the partner program and eligible to run ads on the channel, I never will. That is not in my plans whatsoever. So just wanted to let you know that ahead of time. Okay, I think I have to leave it there. Thank you for watching, and until next time, please take it easy. You've been working yourself too hard. All right, see you next time.